Hello, and welcome to In the Rising, a health and wellness podcast for those going through and those supporting those going through cancer. My name is Bettina Brown, and I'm board certified in physical therapy, wound care, and lymphedema. And for me, cancer is very personal. It's affected my friends, my immediate, and my not so immediate family. And therefore, I created this podcast and fitafterbreastcancer.com to address the multiple dimensions of our lives during and after recovery. Hey there, my name is Bettina, and I am really happy to talk today with Nikki Walton. I know I say that a lot, but every conversation is a new experience, and so I'm really eager, happy, and also honored to share this with you. My guest today is Nikki Walton, who's a best-selling author, NAACP Image Award nominated author, and also a licensed psychotherapist. She has curlynikki.com, and maybe you know her from there. So she has been the #1 natural hair beauty blogger in the world and has reached millions and millions of women across at least 30 countries. So she has a beautiful, unique story to her life. But today we take a pause and we slow down and talk about faith. For a lot of us going through a major event of life, we really cling to our faith. And for us that are in the best times of our life, maybe we need a reminder to stick with that. My podcast is about going through major health crises, of which cancer is one. And I have witnessed the importance of faith to so many people that it's not something I can turn away from and not talk about. I have in front of me, Wake Up to Love, Meditations to Start Your Day. First of all, congratulations on
Thank
this
you.
book.
Thank you so much.
We don't really appreciate how much work, effort, soul, love, sweat, tears, all of that goes into writing a book. It's not a small thing at all.
Right? No, you're absolutely right. It's daunting and it can be very scary, especially when you're just getting started. It seems
Yes.
impossible when you're just getting started.
So congratulations, and that's a lot of determination and grit. And there's a lot of love just in it, because to do this over and over, to go through that, to write this and wake up to love. And a lot of times what I've noticed is we listen to people differently when we know their story of why they're doing this. And we can always have a long conversation, but what is really like your why? What was the reasoning, your get up to continue to do this journey and have your own podcast and make the difference that you are?
I, during COVID, found myself stressed because I couldn't just get out and be alone. And so I was constantly being called by my kids, my parents calling. So it's like, mommy, Nikki, Nikki, and then emails, Curly, Nikki, we need this, we need that, so much. And so I made a conscious decision to start waking up before the sun, about maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I'm not a morning person, but I had to become one to stay sane. And I'd get up, and it felt so good to not have to be anything for anyone and just to be. And I do my spiritual practice, I do my chanting, my praying. And after just 3 months of that, sitting in the stillness, sitting as the stillness, the idea came up. And you listening at home, and maybe you too, Bettina, there's something on your heart, in your heart, that you have to start. And all of a sudden, someone that goes from just being really like a writer or blogger is like, I have to start a podcast, and it has to be every morning. It has to be first thing in the morning. And since 2021, I've been doing Good Mornings with Curly Nikki, and it's every single day, about 10 minutes of a meditation to help the listener find this peace, find this love. But after so many years of doing this, there's just too many episodes, especially for someone coming to this new. Like when it gets introduced to a family member or friend, they see 1,500 episodes, because some days I do double episodes. They're like, where do you begin? And so my book, Wake Up to Love, is the best 52 practices, 52 different doorways to get into this love, or 52 ways up the same mountain to love. And I just want people to have an anchor to recognize that there is something here that they are constantly overlooking and replacing with snacks and scrolling and new relationships and, excessive thinking. And as soon as you slow down, or right now, sit up, like go from hunched over like we usually are, sit up into this presence, into the silence. You start using your body like an antenna for God, for the divine, and you'll be able to hear what's next for you, what you're supposed to be doing in this moment.
Thank you for sharing that. And I heard it on your podcast. I hear it now. You have a voice that is slowed down, that is calm. Like it's not a meditation that someone is trying to be relaxed in. Like you embody it completely.
Oh,
And
thank
yes, it comes through. It comes through. And I wanted to start with some definitions, and one is love.
you.
And the big thing is, a love a feeling, or is love a choice? Or what is your idea about it?
Love is the feeling and it gets distorted. And then we call it many other things, but it is life. It is what all of this is. I think it was Daniel Pinchuk that says we call it stuff, chair, microphone, computer, these bodies. It's love appearing as these things. And so it's universal, it's everywhere. And we don't slow down enough to recognize that we are that. And we think we're these bodies only. But as soon as you stop, you feel that this body is made of that, and it's made of that. And so that is my definition of love. It is who and what we are. And it's beyond race and weight. And like what this is does not get old. What this is, you can't see in a mirror. You can't see with a naked eye, but you can experience it very easily.
We can experience it, and it's something that we long to experience as well, to
Exactly.
have.
And you said too, it's a choice that you make in the moment to remain aware of what appears to be happening or to not judge by appearances, like we're taught in the Bible, and to feel what's also here. And so I often point my listeners to that question that you can ask yourself in any moment, especially in the overwhelming moments, to say, is love here too? And it's a listening. I ask the question and I say, is love here too? And then I just listen, not for an answer that says yes or no, but the listening is the answer. And the love rushes into that gap, into that silence. And that's it. Yes, love is here too, in addition to what appears to be like the anger or the frustration or the fatigue. And if you can just feel a teeny bit of that love, things begin to change inside of you, but outside as well.
And that's where waking up to love is. And I think what you just said, you made a conscious decision to wake up before the sun comes. And wake up
Absolutely.
can be physically. Wake up can actually mean to come out of the darkness, as in you're going on habit and you're not awake. And for a lot of my listeners, we're so busy with life, and then you get a diagnosis, or someone you love gets that is the wake up call.
Absolutely.
What do you describe waking up to love? Like, what does that mean to you when you say that?
Every moment, every seeming moment, it's a little bit different as far as what it is, that grace that comes in that wakes me up. And even sometimes bad news or a text that doesn't generate loving feelings, can wake you up. You begin to use every single thing life throws at you as something to trigger you back into this love, back into waking up. I am very big on physical postures and not like strenuous, like yoga postures. I'm saying, like right now, fold your hands in front of you in prayer pose and just bow gently, bow. And it's like you're bowing into God, into grace, into love, into the silence. When you're like that, the negative thoughts slow down. They may even come to a complete standstill. When you're using your body like an antenna for the divine, bowing into God, you can notice that your body feels peace. And then even when you sit back up and your hands are now resting in your lap, that peace is still there. It's like you're still bowed inside. You're still humbled inside. You're still aware of that sweetness inside. And that's all you ever have to do. It's all you ever have to be. And it's just a matter of letting everything, good or bad, turn you back around to this.
You're anchored in, like you said.
Exactly.
You're anchored in. You do these podcasts, you write these books, you're also a businesswoman, you're a podcaster, so many
It's a
things.
lot.
It is a lot, but you know what? When you love it, you love it and it comes across. My podcast is In the Rising. What do you see yourself still rising up to or rising up to support others with?
The podcast feels like my life's work. It feels very important. However, as of November 11th of this year, I began waking up even earlier. Now I get up at 4 and I do a live stream where I pray the rosary with my audience. And you do not have to be Catholic to pray the rosary. We just pray the Our Father and the Hail Mary, and we do it 150 times and we do 15 Our Fathers. And it's a very powerful practice because you're replacing your thoughts, the usual thinking, the usual worries with what seems to be just words, but it's guiding you into a deeper feeling of that presence. And so we're basically praying love. We're practicing love for about 45 minutes every morning. And right now, that feels even more exciting to me than the podcast because I'm doing it with others real time. And there's about 60 of us waking up at that time. And there's some that are in Central. I'm in the Eastern time zone. There's some in Central, some out in California. They haven't even gone to bed yet. They're still up. So if you're for some reason not asleep or you're up early and you want to pray with us, you can get on. I've got people that are Muslim and they just listen like it's a sound bath. Sometimes they pray and chant their own prayers. And they said it's like a choir with me chanting and with them chanting. You can use this service as you wish, but it feels very divine. And I'm very blessed to be able to do it, even though I'm very tired because it's been now since November 11th since I've been doing that. And I don't even know what today's date is, but it's a very powerful practice to pray and to chant and to practice this love with others. And so I'm just going to continue listening, just like I hope you listening at home will continue to listen, of course, to this podcast and to mine as well, but also to the silence because your answers, your project, whatever you're rising up to, you'll hear it. You'll begin to take steps towards it. Even when the steps sound outrageous and you're like, I could never do that. You can and you will because it won't be you. It's God working through you, the Christ love working, using your hands, using your feet, using your voice. I never have words. I never know what I'm going to say. I just have trust in the love to speak, and it always speaks.
When we have trust and love, and then we begin to behave in that way, and it's
Yeah.
fun to actually
Yeah.
be with other people. That is the gratitude, that is the peace, and that is the community that people are sometimes longing for in the scrolls, in the sex, in the new relationships.
Absolutely.
But this is
Absolutely.
always going to lead to positive. It always
Yeah.
will.
Yes.
You know, thank you so much for anchoring us in together during this podcast conversation and for all that you do for the world, because that is a light, that is a love, and that has such resounding positive consequences. So I just want to thank you for all of that you're doing.
Thank you. And thank you for all that you're doing and for the service that you're providing, being a light for others in times of, just needing to migrate and navigate through, and we all are in positions where we need someone to lean on, to have someone to shine a light in the darkness. And you are doing that every day. And it is very much appreciated.
What really came across to me listening to Nikki talk and then also listening again as I was creating the podcast episode is the calmness and the peace that Nikki has. And I don't feel that is something you have just because you have been blessed with calmness and peace. It's something you work for and you work towards. And it's something that a lot of us could continue to incorporate in our lives, regardless of the external circumstances. I've read somewhere that your happiness can come and go based off the external things, but that internal joy and peace with your life, it's either there or it's not, and nothing external can make that. So whatever our place is in life, whether it's our friend or us going through a major event or really looking at and evaluating our health, health is wealth, and health is really what brings us to life and feel life. What is it that we can still find that joy in and that connection? And if faith is something that you find important to you or you're new on your journey, I welcome you to the resources below. If faith is something you're familiar with and you'd like to continue that on with your journey, like what do you move forward to? How are we going to move with the next steps? How do I navigate onwards? I invite you to look at my life coaching experience and offerings of Rising Within Life Coaching, the crossing between faith and wellness. I've seen it so often make a big difference for that person, whether it brought about healing or it brought about healing and peace. Either way, there is no lose at all. So until next time, let's keep building one another up.